Sometimes we hang on stuff and beat ourselves to death. And God is telling you, let it go. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. Stop reminding yourself of what has happened. What has happened in the past is the past. Why don't you just let it pass and let it, I can't hear you, let it, slap your neighbor and say, let it go, and come on out. Some stuff you got to let go. You got to take your hands off and let God handle it. We must learn how to let it go. It is human nature to hold on, but you got to learn how to let it go. However, the person who obeys God is willing to let some stuff go. And people, in order to follow God's calling upon their life, next we must be willing to change. Change can be difficult. Change is frightening to some people because they get in a routine and they want to stay there. But I come to tell you today, if you want something new and different from God, you got to do something new and different on your behalf. Hello, somebody. We must be willing to change because there is something in the human DNA that causes us to resist change. But in order for us to obey God, we must be willing to change. You must be willing to go beyond the familiar. You must be willing to press into another vein of praise and worship and go where you've never been before and just trust God. God is calling you to come out from where you are. We must learn how to do it God's way. God said that when we get to where we should be in God, he said that he would then bless you. God has called us to a blessing. And we are blessed with the opportunity of hearing the power of the gospel. God is calling us, and he's called us out of a life of sin. God is calling us and calling folk out of a life of addiction. And he's calling folk out of a life of a lying spirit. Yes. And he's even calling folk out of playing church. It's time to get right, church, so we can go home. God is calling us out of something today because there is something better that he desires to lead us into. And as I get ready to close, yes, I'm about to close, we hear the Apostle Paul saying in the book of Romans chapter number 8 and verse number 19, Paul says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. I just rolled to tell you this morning that you got to come out from wherever you are because the world is waiting for the real church to stand up. They're waiting for the manifestation of the Son of God to break forth in the earth. They're not waiting for folk who talking about church. They're waiting for folk who are the living organism of God, where God has given them power to call those things that be not as though they were.